white Americans to migrate to the Pacific Northwest. And of course, that makes me an enemy of the government and of the majority of the population.
So where are you from, Harold?
I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I'm from Seattle. Hello?
You're a white supremacist group, is that what you're telling me?
A white nationalist group, not a supremacist group.
So you were born and raised in Seattle?
No, I was not. I was born in London, but now I'm in Seattle.
You're Covington, huh?
Right, I am. I'm Harold Covington.
Okay, well, you just screwed up because Harold Covington was born in Burlington, North Carolina. So what are you really doing on the call?
Well, I think you need to understand.
You said you were born in London, you live in Seattle. I just looked him up, and you just made the wrong answer. Yeah?
No, I think I know a lot more about my lifestyle than you do. First of all, I disagree. I wasn't the one who wrote that. I did grow up in North Carolina. I did grow up in Burlington.
Oh, now you're from North Carolina. Okay.
No, you never asked me if I grew up in North Carolina or not. All I said was that I was born in London.
You grew up in Seattle. I just asked you a question.
I never said I grew up in Seattle. I said I'm in Seattle at the moment.
So why are you in Seattle? Are you running from the police or the feds for being involved with the hate group?
I'm not running from the police, but I believe that the Pacific Northwest is the correct area for the new white homeland, and that's what I believe in, and that's what my organization, the Northwest Front, believes in.
So why would you think you were targeted?
Well, I think I'm targeted because, obviously, my goal is to secede from the American government and create this new white nation, and therefore,
you actually sound like you have an Asian accent. I hate to say it.
How
could you be from a white supremacist group that you almost sound like you have an Asian accent?
What kind of Asian accent do I have?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'm not sure. I was born in London. I lived in Rhodesia. I lived in Ireland. I lived. I've lived more time outside the U.S. than in the U.S. So maybe that explains it. But I don't see how that's relevant to why I'm a TI. All that.
So why would you be a TI?
Well, why I'm a TI is because I'm targeted.
You're probably being hunted by the FBI for being a hate group. That's not being targeted. It's because of the ideological principles that you prescribe to that the FBI probably has to monitor you guys in case you might try to kill people of color.
No, but that's not our goal. And if you go to
a website, that's not being targeted. That's just being monitored because they have certain lists of people who are hate groups. White nationalist is a hate group.
It's not just the FBI or the government, but it's also the media and the people around me, and it's also fellow white nationalists, who are jealous of the fact that I'm actually doing something as opposed to just wasting time. And I am targeted by the government. They have cognitive dissonance agents who target me online, who post fake stuff under my name. They have fake Twitter accounts using my name. Yeah, they do that. Exactly, and they post false stuff using my name. I think that makes me a TI.
Well, I don't think so. I think that the targeted individuals who are being targeted were innocent Americans who weren't involved with anything like that, hate groups or anything.
But I am an innocent American, and I don't believe in hate. I don't believe in hate. I just believe in pride for your own race. That doesn't equal. I don't hate any other race.
Whatever. I think there's a significant difference between targeting or monitoring groups that espouse, homogenous type of ideological principles when you're in a country that's nothing but immigrants, including Caucasians.
Right, but let's look at the demographics.
This country belongs to everyone who's a part of it, who it could be of any ethnic background, who immigrated. That includes the English and the French and the Irish and all that other stuff.
I agree.
It doesn't just belong to one race.
Right, I agree, but in 1960, America was over 90% white, and now it's only 60% white and going down. So for people like me who remember the good old days, you can understand why we're a bit upset, can't you, Alda?
No. No, I can't.
And we're not, we're trying to create our own nation. We have nothing against the U.S. being a multiracial nation. We're just trying to create our own white nation in the Pacific Northwest. And the Pacific Northwest is overwhelmingly white anyway, so it really doesn't make much of a difference. Hello? Hello?
Well, whatever. I mean, that's your belief system.
And I was reading the chat room, and you said I have an Asian accent. And again, I don't understand. I mean, what kind of Asian? Do you think I'm Japanese or Chinese or Korean?
Either Chinese, probably Chinese or Korean. It's an Asian accent, though. I can pick on Asian accents real quick.
Well, like I said, I didn't grow up in the U.S., and I'm sure if you travel around the world, you'll find plenty of white people who don't have an American or a British accent. But I can assure you, as much as anyone can assure you online, that I am Harold Covington and I am a white man. That's all I can do. I don't know what else I can say, Alga.
But you think you're just a disinformation artist that's trying to attempt to who knows? But I can tell you right now that if in point of fact that you did belong to one of these type of nationalist groups or supremacist groups, chances are they are monitoring because of the ideological doctrines that are spewed. That
no, actually, let me point out the difference.
Can incite other people to cause violence towards people of color. Or people
I understand the
community or certain things like that. So, if you're being monitored or targeted, that's a whole lot different than the targeted individual community who are just average people who did not belong to any of these extremist type of groups, per se. They're being targeted.
Let me clarify.
Like that.
First of all, the Northwest Front and several other white nationalist organizations promote peace and harmony. And we say that to all our members. On the other hand, there are other white organizations, such as the Aryan Brotherhood, Hell's Angels, skinhead organizations, that do promote violence against non-whites. And we're against them. And I feel like their bad reputation kind of overflows onto us. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's fair that you paint us all with the same brush.
I'm not painting you that way. You were saying that you were targeted, and I'm saying that, well, chances are the people who paint you into that brush are certain agencies that may list these type of groups as hate groups. And
but
they monitor. That's not necessarily targeting. They just want to make sure that you don't incite other people to commit other crimes against people who are either of color or of a different religious belief or sexual orientation or whatever. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that you're in the wrong group when you're talking about targeting, because the targets are average, everyday people who do not belong to any
when the FBI targets innocent white nationalist organizations such as the Northwest Front instead of the Aryan Brotherhood or the Hell's Angels, then yes, I do feel I'm a targeted individual. Because in our Constitution, we promote non-violence and we promote harmony between the races. And that's what we teach in our group meetings as well. So to say that we might promote hate, it kind of looks like you're targeting me, Alda.
I'm not targeting you. I'm not targeting you. I'm just giving you a statement, a fact. If you claim to be a part of a white nationalist group, right? Most of the targets don't belong to any of those groups. We're just solo individuals that were targeted. A lot of times by groups that are recruited from these type of supremacist groups or these more extremist level groups to target individuals based upon some narrative that was sold. I'm saying that there's a difference between targeting and monitoring, and maybe they're monitoring, yes, if you claim to be this Covington, because they're monitoring what you're doing in case you're inciting people to cause violence against other people. Targets are just these solo people living in communities who are being targeted by their communities because some group went out and killed them. We're not a part of any extremist group.
Well, I disagree that
ideological principles are you can believe what you want to or whatever. So there's a big difference between when you claim that you're the victim of something but you belong to an organization that has specific, very narrow views. As opposed to
how do you know that I have very narrow views? Have you read our Constitution? I mean, I think you have a prejudiced and biased approach to white nationalists.
No, I don't. I'm just claiming that you claim that you guys are targeted now. Well,
I'm not saying all white nationalists. Like I said, I don't include the Aryan Brotherhood. But I feel like if you read our Constitution, you'll realize that the Northwest Front is quite different from a violent skinhead organization. And so I do feel like...
You still prescribe this thing about the loss of the so-called white nation. But you don't understand that this country started with Native Americans, and then the West, from Texas all the way over to the California side, was Spain and Mexico.
Right.
And because of this manifest destiny that transpired, all of a sudden it becomes so-called white America. But in reality, there were people of color here long before.
Right.
The white nationalists.
That's true. But the issue is not my ideology. The issue is whether I'm a targeted individual or not. And I'm telling you that I'm a peaceful organization, and we are targeted by the FBI. We're targeted by anti-racist skinheads who are violent and who attack white nationalists. And we're targeted by the government, and it's not monitoring because we're clearly not a violent organization. And I feel like you're saying that I'm violent, yet you've never read our Constitution.
No, I'm not saying you're violent. I'm saying that maybe sometimes there's people who take it to the point where they become those skinhead groups because of it started with maybe, say, white nationalism, per se, and then people branch off into more extremism, so they just monitor certain groups. And, it could be the Panthers, it could be some Asian group or Russian group or whatever, and they monitor them because sometimes they espouse things that are just very narrow in their scope. So like I'm saying, maybe it started with white nationalism, but then these people took it on their own to become more extreme, like you say, whether it's the skinheads or whatever. I'm not saying you don't have the right to believe that, but your monitoring is about an organizational, ideological principle. Our organization is about individuals who came together because we found each other because we're solo targets.
And I believe I'm a solo target as well. Let me give you an analogy. If you compare the NAACP and the New Black Panthers, would you say that they're both, in a sense, they're both black civil rights organizations, right? And yet they're both very different. And that's the difference between me and a violent skinhead. And I think that's something which you need to understand and respect.
Well, no, I don't have to understand anything, personally, I don't have to understand anything other than the fact that I'm targeted and I don't belong to an extremist group.
Well, but I'm targeted as well, and I'm not part of an extremist group. I
help you over here. I tell you that for me as a targeted individual, I'm not going to ascribe to being associated with a group that they put as a hate group or a group to be monitored because of the ideological principles. I hate to say it, but I'm not.
But the truth is,
because they're really not going to help targets because they're going to think all the targets are the same.
No, okay, well, then I guess I'm a different category of TI, but I'm still a TI.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like a white nationalist targeted individual group, I guess. So otherwise, you can go to your group. You know what? It's not going to help our organization. It starts being ascribed to all you different groups trying to get in here to get your asses off the hook for targeting some people. Because I'm telling you right now that there are they do go to certain kinds of supremacist groups, target individuals. And now you guys want to come over here and try to get your, not you personally, but try to come into the target community to try to get your asses off the hook. I'm not having it.
I respect your concerns, but there's a big difference between a white supremacist organization and a white nationalist.
Doesn't matter. You know what you're doing? You're espousing your ideological principles, claiming to be a targeted individual. Can you just mute us, please?
All right, Alza, you're being bigoted and prejudiced, but okay.
No, I'm not being bigoted and prejudiced. I'm saying that, you know what, if you want to start your targeted individual show, you knock yourself out. I don't want to be ascribed to a white nationalist group claiming that all of a sudden targets are the part of the white nationalist group.